unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably heard of the movie Home Alone. It's one of, if not the most famous Christmas movie of all time. It is considered a classic, something always put on every year. But what if I tell you there's a Home Alone 2? You will probably say, yeah, of course I know that. Yeah, Home Alone 2 is quite famous as... Home Alone is famous as a duology. But this movie, while it originally started off as a movie that got a lot of bad press, it eventually turned into a movie which is just as well liked, some might even say better than the original. But did you also know that there was a Home Alone 3? I expect a good chunk of you still said yes. Maybe because you've seen a few angry reviews, or maybe it's just because you've seen a lot. But this movie is quite infamous and will most likely stay like that for the rest of time. But what if I tell you that there was a Home Alone 4, or a Home Alone 5, or a Home Alone 6? I'm pretty sure that you wouldn't know that going in. Maybe if you clicked on this video even, you were expecting me to only talk about the first 3 or 4 or something. 6 movies! Well, some people may say, why haven't I heard of Home Alone 4 or 5 or 6? Well, they're all TV movies. They're all not cinematic movies. They're minor stuff they did on the side. But why were they even made? Why was putting TV movies out like a big example of things? Well, that's mostly what I'm going to find out today. This wasn't meant to be the next franchise deep dive. It was meant to be something about pirates. But unfortunately, that got pushed back. That got pushed back to January because I wanted to do something special for Christmas. And this is what I wanted to do. Because I am much more familiar with this series than I was with the Ice Age series before I did that video. I've seen the first 2 movies quite a few times. And I saw the 3rd movie and the 4th movie at least 1 time each. I don't remember anything about them, but I know I did see them when I was a kid. So I am interested to revisit some of these movies, see how they still hold up, and see how bad it really got. I have a feeling this is going to get pretty bad. But before we get into that, let's start by talking about one of the biggest Christmas classics of all time. Home Alone is a good movie. Not exactly a hot take, I know, but it is. I don't think it's the greatest thing ever though, and there are much better Christmas movies, and much better movies, like, seriously. For one, Macaulay Culkin. He's not awful, and he does improve throughout the film. Don't get me wrong, but for a lot of it, his acting isn't the best. I don't usually like to, but he's a child. Child acting can never be perfect. It's not really that much of an issue. But, especially the beginning, it isn't very good. The dialogue is so damn false. He doesn't want to pack a suitcase. Okay, was that a weird thing for a kid to do? Nay. The dialogue is so forced. It relies on so many coincidences for the plot to happen. Everyone is just continuously so mean to Kevin that he wishes that they don't exist. And suddenly, the power just happens to go out the next day. They're continuously ignoring them. And then Kevin seriously has to sleep through 14 other people rushing around the house. Like, seriously, how loud they were being. How did he sleep through all that? Apparently everyone not thinking of him when, like, he was all that they thought of before this. Oh, and I can't forget, like a random kid who looked a bit like Kevin walking up, so they mess up the count. The opening's just really fucking dumb, okay? Everything after the opening, though, is pretty good. Kevin himself does become fun later in the movie. See moments from him, learning to appreciate his home, and there's something all about him. I love the scenes of him going shopping and even stealing the toothbrush. Very fun. I like the parents in the movie much more than I thought. I think they actually do a good job at acknowledging how shitty the parents are. The mum herself really makes you really feels remorse. You can tell. Catherine does a great job. Dealing with a panic really makes you feel that she regrets what she did. I like how she flies from place to place, trying to get back to him. Donut isn't bad either. I also quite like Buzz. He's kind of an exception. He just seems to be like a horrible rival bully brother who doesn't give a shit. He is delightful. While I mostly dislike vomiting, Buzz is kind of an exception. The redeeming quality of that, as well as Harry acting as the policeman, I guess. I like that too. Oh, and but most of it was good. But Buzz, I liked him. Obviously, the highlight of the movie is Harry and Marv. They're just great contrasts to each other. The smart, sophisticated, snarky leader, and the dumb one. They both play magnificently. They were also really fucking funny. Every moment Harry gets angry at Marv is great. Marv, continuously water off. It's funny. Every moment with them clicks. The moment where they see Kevin play the trick with the house is full. Them hearing the gangster movie and Marv thinks someone beat them to the job. I mean, what is this? In fact, this is a really funny movie. Fundamentally, this movie feels like a comedy. It's a Christmas movie, but it's definitely mostly a comedy. So many jokes crack me up. From the stuff at the airport, to Kevin's antics, to Harry and Marv, and more. I like the gangster scene, and the scene where the mum calls the cops, and he asks stupid questions. And it's pretty funny. Another incredibly funny scene is where when Kevin puts the gangster movie on while the pizza guy is there. I love his reactions, like calling Kevin a cheapskate. It's really funny. Pretty great stuff. And the ending with the trap's amazing. The slipping the eye in the door. Oh, that's another thing. I like how scary they portray the basement at first, when Kevin warming up to the end. Him clearly getting less fearful and way more independent. It really works! And again, the traps are funny. Harry and Maude just surviving everything without even getting seriously injured. Seriously, both franchise deep dives I've done so far, both include amazingly immortal beings. I wonder if that's going to be the case with the next one, but I don't think so. Although I could easily be wrong. Seriously, how the hell are these two alive? Something which doesn't get spoken about enough with this movie is old man Morley. I don't remember this subplot working so well. Him not being an actual bad guy is kind of predictable, but it still works. Kevin continuously screaming and running away at him is played really well, and is a good running gag, especially as he definitely does look threatening with his snow shovel and his demeaning looks. You can really tell that an 8-year-old kid would definitely be scared of this guy, especially as he's been told that he is a serial killer. The scene of him and Kevin talking in the church was one of the best scenes in the entire movie. Obviously, not as good as the slapstick with the traps, but you get my point. It worked to utter perfection. I love how at the end we clearly see him with his son having a reunion. A nice end to the movie. The movie itself ends beautifully with Kevin's mom getting home and them reconciling, as well as everyone coming, apparently taking that morning flight. I love the final shout of Buzz shouting about what Kevin has done to his room. Classic. So yeah, overall this movie is pretty great. Just not the best thing ever, and the opening does drag it down quite a bit. I mean, so yeah, this movie might be a little overrated, but I don't think there's anything in particular that has aged poorly. So I do think that it's overall a really good movie. I hope the sequel lives up to that. So you're probably thinking, what is Home Alone 2? Is it good? Did it live up to the original? Well, the answer to the first question is yes. The answer to the second question is, it's complicated. Home Alone 2 used to be regarded as the best example of a sequel which copies the original. It was not considered good, to say the least. But now? Well, some people think it's even better than the original. What do I think? Well, I think you can make a pretty strong argument for it being better than the first one. But you can also make a pretty strong argument the other way around. I think the first two Home Alone movies are basically equal in quality. Is it true that this movie copies the original? Well, yes and no. The movie does rely on exactly the same formula as the original. Family gets angry at Kevin the day before they go on holiday. He wishes they will go away and he will be alone. Then after the family gets up late and hurries to the plane, he is left behind and then spends the movie alone, setting traps for the same two robbers. They even do the old man Marley subplot, which is probably one of the most unnecessary things in the movie, but we'll get to that. I do think it does quite a lot different though. People might be a little too harsh. The New York setting is particularly great and makes the movie feel very different, very busy and adventurous. The hotel setting is also very different than the home. I love the hotel staff, particularly Tim Curry. He's absolutely hilarious in this movie. You might say, well, obviously, it's Tim Curry. And yes, doesn't mean I can't praise him still. Yes, it's just pointing out the obvious, but who cares? Also, something I easily noticed about the movie is that it's way more focused on Kevin himself. Like, I don't think I'm incorrect in saying this. The scenes with Harry and Marv alone and the parents feel like much less in this case. And this I'm not sure I particularly like. Before, I praised the parents obviously doing an awful thing, but they seem incredibly remorseful and clearly try every waking minute to fix the mistake and get back to him, especially the mom. Here, well, I'm not going to say they seem completely careless, but it's not like they're not worried at all, but they're definitely not as worried as they were in the first movie, when they should be even more worried here. I mean, he's not just at home, the place he's familiar with, he's in a big city, he doesn't have anywhere to go, really. Like, they're not taking that much responsibility when they talk to the police, actively lying about it. That scene to me was just mean-spirited and not actually funny. Makes you think why the police aren't looking into this family situation. Plus, when they go to the hotel, they act like they did no wrong and it was all the hotel staff's fault. I mean, sure, they're idiots and shouldn't have been such idiots, but you two are very neglectful parents. You acknowledge this in the first movie. Why are you even worse parents here? I would be okay with this if they addressed it in the narrative, but it seems like they really just want us to side with them. When I'm past caring. I really am. Kevin himself is a better protagonist here. We really go into how smart he is, how much of a master manipulator he is, although it's still unbelievable he set all those traps in one night, I guess. Also in this movie, while the slapstick is mostly funny, the throwing brick scene I loved. It does go on a bit too long for sure. It's just not funny when they keep doing it all the time. Not because it's unrealistic. The Home Alone movies of why plot holes don't matter to me. It matters more to me why the parents aren't taken to jail because of child neglect. It's just boring eventually. They repeat the old man Marley thing with the bird lady, as I said, but it doesn't ring the same because it happened before. And they're going don't judge by appearance, even when old man Marley was mostly untrusted because of the story Buzz told. The bird lady is just boring and doesn't have the backstory mysterious around her. Kevin is only scared of her for one scene, and it's a quick scene. It's not like a running gag like it was in Old Man Marley, where it was clearly effective when Kevin stopped being scared of him. Of everything they copied from this movie, this was the dumbest and most unnecessary. So why is this movie still good? Well, for one, the opening is way goddamn better. The explanation for why Kevin is angry is way better. It's based on one bad event, which clearly someone else caused, and he was blamed. It doesn't feel like everyone being mean to him for no reason. Kevin didn't sleep through a bunch of people rushing, he just fell behind and got lost. The only big coincidence really is the alarm shorting out again. Oh, and Harry and Marv being in the same place as Kevin, I guess. But I don't think either of those are major issues. Macaulay Culkin is way better in this movie. As I said, Kevin feels like a much better, well-rounded character here. And oh my fucking god, do I hate Buzz in this movie. Even more than I did in the first one. He's just an awful bully and a great inciting incident. You really feel like he's the worst brother ever, which is the entire point. I like Mr. Duncan, and I like the entire message of this movie. This movie really made me think about what Kevin will grow up to be. Overall, this movie is pretty good, and it manages to do this while being similar to the first movie in almost every respect. Anything else in this movie I forgot to talk about? Anything? Oh, yeah. In one scene, there's this one extra that Kevin asks where to go. And oh my god, the acting is so fucking bad. He makes all the child acting in any movie look spectacular. I know it's just one line, but it's the most poorly delivered line I've ever said. Awful line. I looked it up, I literally couldn't find anything. He wasn't credited, he's like the most invisible person he ever lived. And oh my god, he fucking deserves it. Fuck this guy and his stupid acting choices for his 2-second appearance. This guy is not a good guy. I have to say that I don't know who he is, but I can just tell there is something up about him entirely. Never mind. I went on a tangent about an extra for like 2 seconds. I think I need a pause. Let's just do a pause. Hi, I'm Matrick. I am the guy that does the extended pauses. Completely different guy from the one before. Now, if you did, if you saw the previous FDD, you would know that these segments are ones which I take a look at stuff which don't fit into the main video. So small things. In the first extended pause of the last one, I talked about different types of merchandise, particularly the plushies. Where are they? I still have them. Plushies of the characters from Ice Age, like these guys. I took a look at them and saw them. I said in that video that I was going to do a plush, I was going to buy a plush out of every franchise that I took. Well, that's what I did, basically. But you're probably asking, wait, Home Alone is plushies? Home Alone is teddies? Like, what if there was no Teddy from that franchise? Well, I'll just pick the first Teddy that comes up on the results. No matter how bad it is, no matter how little to do with the franchise it has, I'll talk about that. And talk about why it might be the first result. First result, which is actually a Teddy, actually a plush, of course. This is just for fun, and because, again, I'm a collector of these things. So, I want to get as many as I can. So, this is what I did. I got a plush of I got a plush which is related to Home Alone, but I'm not sure it's really full Home Alone merchandise. So let's just open it now. Okay, here it is. Here's this guy. If you can tell, this is Kevin the Carrot, dressed as Kevin McAllister. If you don't know what Kevin the Carrot is, he's a series of beloved British adverts, usually released every year. I actually have another Teddy from the Kevin Carrot series. And this is Katie the Carrot, dressed as his mum. I got these two, yeah? I don't really think these are official merchandise licensed by Fox. At least I highly doubt they are. But but they're the closest thing that comes to it. Themed merchandise. I'm pretty sure it's what we're going to get a lot. And these are like Christmas characters from Christmas commercials. It makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? He's obviously doing the iconic screaming, which is nice. And I like the red shirt. I like the suit. She really captures the feel, Katie does. These two, pretty good teddies. Way better than all of the Ice Age ones. Especially the Diego one. That one was really terrible. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Okay, let's just put these here. Because unlike the Ice Age video, I have more to show you. I have more stuff to show you. Why? Because there was more merch. Obviously, I wanted official Home Alone merchandise, and that's what I got. First one, I'm going to open. Actually, no, we'll save that till last. I think it'll be better to open this. This, I'm pretty sure, is a mug. It says fragile, handled with care. So, this is a Home Alone mug I got. I have to be very careful with this. This is pretty hard to open. Why? Okay, so here it is. This mug is way more special, way more worth showing to the franchise. This is the cup. We've got Harry, and we've got Marv here. Home Alone, and with the house in the middle. This, and then on the back or the front, whatever you want to call it, we've got Kevin screaming. This is really smart because you have the logo, you have Kevin, you have the robbers. It really captures the feel and is honestly a really good idea. This mug is also amazingly clean for something new. Yeah, it's like something that must be pretty old. But yeah, this is a mug from the series. Basically a model of Harry's. What has Harry got? I'm confused. Is that like a laser? What has he got? I don't know. But I do think this is a pretty good mug and something worth celebrating in the whole scheme of things. I don't think it's perfect. But I love this. I really do like this. Marv is clearly holding his stick, and Kevin's doing the iconic screaming. I like this because, like, Harry and Marv are also under the logo, while Kevin is next to it. It's not like other mugs, where it's like, where it's like the same thing twice. No. You turn this around, it's Home Alone logo, Harry and Marv. Turn this, it's Kevin. It's pretty smart in my opinion. It's pretty smart in my opinion. Let's just put that there as well. Now, the last thing which I bought, and this is probably the one I'm most excited to show you all, is this t-shirt. This Wanted Harry and Marv t-shirt. Actually, let's try this on. Hey, look, it fits me fine. Now, as you can see, This one is like Harry and his number, and it's like the escaped news report. I'm not 100% sure if this newspaper article was seen in the movie or just on a poster or something like that, but is without a doubt a good t-shirt, although a little bit tight. It's very black and white. Clearly got good models of the actors. I wish it was more in colour, but I guess this is good enough. It's good as it can be, you know? It's very new as well, like the mug. Overall, I do think Home Alone has pretty good merchandise. It's way better than the Ice Age merch I got. Which Ice Age had a lot less merchandise. At least it felt that way. Whereas Home Alone has a lot more variety. And there's a lot of stuff I didn't buy. With more t-shirts, for example. But this was the only one I can find in my size, so I wanted to wear it for you all. So, yeah, I do think that these are all good products. And I'll keep using them. There was nothing in that, I just wanted to do that. You're probably wondering, what am I going to talk about next? Because I did talk about other stuff in my first Ice Age pause, other than just merchandise. It focused on the merchandise, but it wasn't all it was about, you know. Well, Home Alone has a lot less material, and by the time you're seeing this, the franchise extras on the Ice Age comics would have already came out. So there was even stuff on the Ice Age which I didn't even get to. And with these Home Alone with the Ice Age things, I did a very quick summary of the games. I didn't talk about them for long. It was mostly just the merchandise and a quick sum up of the games. Again, if you've played any of the Ice Age games, please comment what you thought of them, or basically just send me some clips. But I honestly think it would be better if I wanted a shortish extended pause and a longish extended pause. I would just have this one just be about all the merchandise, and well, the other one is about everything else, which there's not actually a lot of it compared to something like Ice Age, which is a way bigger franchise. Home Alone is way more focused on the movies. There are other media in Home Alone, obviously. Then these pauses will be super duper boring. When we get to ones which basically are only movies, these extended pauses might just be random shit, me pretending that there's stuff to talk about. I am excited for those moments! But that's hopefully a while away. I'm pretty sure all the franchises I've got planned for this series do have other stuff to talk about with. But Home Alone, and I'm glad these are from the original first two movies too, all of them. Like even that, there's Kevin, his iconic pose from the first movie. And like how this is particularly from the second movie. It's specifically from the second movie, which is good because it gives the second movie some depth. I couldn't really find any merchandise of any of the movies after the second one, which it's really weird. Now, obviously, that isn't the biggest thing we wanted to find out about the movies. Biggest thing is probably why I hate the extras so much. But anyway, we'll find it out later. But let's just see But it's clear that the other movies clearly didn't have that much merch quality. Like, I might have tried to find something of the later movies if I could find any, but meh, who cares? Let's just see whether the next few movies, why we didn't capture our attention. Back over to you, Patrick! Home Alone 3 is certainly an interesting movie. It's definitely an interesting movie. This movie is not boring. It is far from it. I'd argue it's anything but. This movie is of course not a sequel to the first two. There's not much indication it takes place in the same universe as the first two, as there's no references to it existing. But you already know this. Well, at least that was all I knew. What this movie is not what I expected. So, while the first two movies were about a kid whose big family is going on holiday because of a bunch of contrived coincidences, they leave him alone for days. Yeah, he has chickenpox. He can't go to school. And the mom needs to go to work, and the dad needs to go on a business trip. So it might be even more convenient? I don't know. I'm making it sound like a much more normal movie than the first two, but no, it isn't. The first two movies had two robbers. This movie doubles them. And they aren't nearly as entertaining. I can't remember any of their names. But anyway, they work for a North Korean terrorist organization and are supposed to steal a microchip, put it inside a toy car, and somehow get it past airport security because it's shit in the Home Alone universe. And like, it's gonna cause a bomb or something. This plot is infinitely funny and like redeems it. It's like infinitely funny. I was just asking, what the hell is going on from the entire opening? And Alex, the kid, didn't even come in until like halfway through the movie. It's just weird. Until like 30 minutes in, and it's just like, what? And yes, this is all real stuff that happens in Home Alone 3 somehow. So what has this got to do with a random kid with chickenpox? Well, he's got the toy car and the chip, and he sees the robbers at a neighbor's house and calls the police. But they get there and it's too late and the bad guys get away. And then he sees the robbers at a neighbor's house and calls the... Okay, I won't steal a joke from pitch meeting. Okay, you don't have to say it that loud. But it is genuinely funny that the same thing happens twice. But yeah, this movie is funny. It's hilarious. These movies are comedies and this brings in laughs. Maybe even more than the first two. Don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure not all the laughs were intentional, and it was much more unintentional, the laughs. And thus, it's not as unironically funny as the first two. But I don't think that was every single time. The tracks, for example, were great. The part where the girl robber scolds two generic robbers for getting beaten by Alex, then gets beaten herself, is hilarious. As is the two generics falling into the pool, and the leader robber getting blown up by the parrot. Actually, everything with the parrot is great. Honestly, while Alex is not as great as Kevin, I still think he's a genuinely good protagonist. He's smarter than everyone else like Kevin, he has great one-liners like Kevin, and lives in an interesting and dysfunctional family like Kevin. But while it feels like copying, they clearly still hired a good child actor, and all these parts didn't feel like trying too hard like it could have. I also like his relationship with the old woman, and how they're miraculously friends in the end. I like the part where the police explains to a 13-year-old Scarlett Johansson the ridiculous plot of the movie. Oh, that's my Did you know a 13-year-old Scarlett Johansson was in this movie? I shouldn't. The mom is clearly supposed to be a copy of Kevin's mom. I think they even gave her the same coat. But unlike Alex, I don't think she can hold a candle. The coat is really the biggest reference to the first two movies, though. And it said Chicago. Chicago's a big city. A lot of movies sit there, so that really means nothing. What about the dad? Well, he's barely in the movie. The siblings are okay. Nothing much to talk about them, but yeah, one's played by Scarlett Johansson for some reason. So is there anything bad about this movie? Bad in a way I'm genuinely sure I didn't enjoy. Well, it does feel like a lot like a Home Alone movie. I feel like it didn't try hard enough. They still should have made a reference to the first two. Maybe have one of the police mention the Wet Bandits or just something. It doesn't need to be much. Also, this isn't even a Christmas movie. While I disagree that the first two are Christmas movies where you can take the Christmas elements out. You can't. They're crucial. But here, well, this movie can be set any time of the year. Well, some of the tropes were constructed about winter, that's not fully needed. And again, it's not a Christmas movie. It's just a winter movie. And I don't feel like it gives one reference to Christmas, to be honest. It's so disconnected, yet tries. Overall, I love this movie. I can't tell if it's just on an ironic level or not, but either way, I had a great time watching it, and I highly recommend if you want to watch an utterly ridiculous winter movie where every element is dialed up to 11. Honestly, while the first two movies were obviously better on a critical level, I might enjoy watching this one a little more due to how absurd and ridiculous it is. This movie strongly subverted my expectations, and honestly, I will gladly watch it again if asked. Next up is Home Alone 4, which after this surprise, I'm not as nervous about. Bring it on! So I brought it on, and yes, Home Alone 4 is a movie. Shame it sucks though. Wow. Yeah. Never have I seen a sequel that seems to hate the other movies as much as this one. One that seems to despise them to no end. It's just so strange of a movie. The recasts are fucking awful. Aside from the dad, not a single one of them looks like their character from the first two movies. Look at this guy. Does this look like Marv? No, it looks more like Harry, to be honest. But yeah, that isn't Marv. What I think is worse than Buzz. Oh my god, that is not him. He was supposed to be an annoying teenager. Why is he 12? Speaking of ages, why does Kevin say he was 9 when he was 9 in his second movie? Shouldn't he be 10? That is just a small thing, you could have easily changed it. Why am I nitpicking about these small continuity mistakes? Like, find me a sequel that has worse continuity with its previous films than this one. You see this? This is the McAllister family tree. Where is everyone else? You can argue it only takes place with Kevin and his siblings and not their extended family, but the only two in this movie are Buzz and Megan. Where are the other two siblings? Are they dead? Is them dying what broke up the parents? Well, if that's true, they're the two most uncaring parents in the universe to never think about their two kids on Christmas Day. Like, seriously, Kevin being in a big family was extremely crucial to the first two movies. Ruining that, supposedly because of your low budget, is dumb. Like, Harry isn't even in this movie. Why? Did Joe Pesci just reject them more than everyone else? And how has Marv escaped from prison and got married all in 1 year? Marv just doesn't work on his own. And being a controlling husband isn't even near as funny as him being a dumb psychic. In fact, it isn't funny at all! Well, we'll get to that. Now, I've heard some people say that this movie would be fine if it took place with a different family, with different robbers, similar to what Home Alone 3 was. Well, to that I say, I disagree. I definitely disagree with that. Well, yes, I do think it would be a slightly better movie if it wasn't plagued by continuity issues and awful recasts. But I still don't think it would be anywhere near good or even okay. For one, this is one of the most predictable plots I've ever seen. Wow, the stepmother's nice! Oh my god, she's actually horrible! I'm so surprised! Look, the two main robbers have a spy, and the two candidates are a suspicious guy and an incredibly nice girl. Wow! I wonder who it would be. Wow! Oh my god! It's the nice girl! It's not this red herring you were trying to drill into us the entire fucking movie! Look, maybe they were subversive in 2002, but now these twists are just so damn generic. The parents were obviously getting back together again. Blah 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 blah. For no surprise in this movie. Not one. Also, you know our other 3 entries have been comedies. Well, if this one was, I legitimately couldn't tell. I only laughed once during this movie. It was when Marv didn't know how to open the secret entrance, which is only in this movie for one scene. That was kind of funny, I guess. Everything else sucks. Sucks. Marv constantly controlling his wife was not funny. A lot of the stuff was not funny. They made the traps boring. Best parts of the other 3 movies. They made them boring. Nothing in this movie was funny. Aside from the traps and Marv controlling Marv, I don't know when this movie was even trying to be funny. One of the biggest strengths of the first 3 movies, like the biggest, may even be the biggest strength, it was the comedy. They were hilarious movies. But it's so absent in this movie that I just don't care. These problems would still be there if this took place with an entirely different family like Home Alone 3 did. It was just a bad, poorly constructed movie besides that. But still, the fact that the current cast could be just swapped out with another family is a problem too. Like, Home Alone 2 has to be a sequel. You can't just swap it out for another family. This movie is so disrespectful, it doesn't even need to be about Kevin. It's just about Kevin to get more views. This one isn't even cinematic. It didn't need to be made! Okay, so, avoid the shouting. Is there anything good about this movie? Well, while I think the twist is very predictable, I still kind of like Mr. Prescott. And the performances honestly aren't that bad, except Marv's wife, she sucks. Well, yes, it's obviously a downgrade, like, Buzz isn't even near as unlikable and unlikable. But they're mostly fine. It's not the worst movie I've had to watch for this channel so far, but it's definitely still a disgraceful bastardization of two really good movies. And the worst thing is, I don't think it's going to get any better than this. Bring on the even worse films. Not so fast. That's right. Now, I know you're expecting it, but I'm gonna take over for the moment while you wait for the even worse ones. I hope he wasn't offended. Now, so, welcome back to the extended pauses. Today, we're gonna be talking about Home Alone in other media. Home Alone is it doesn't have as much other material as something like Ice Age. Now there is more to talk about than I thought, though. First of all, let's talk about the novelizations, which I didn't get or read or do anything except list on the wiki the differences between the films. I mean, you could answer me why. Well, for one, I was busy. For another, I wanted to get this video by Christmas, and like every time I saw the novelizations on eBay, they were all it had to be imported from America. Maybe I'll do a franchise extras on the novelizations, like I am going to do with Ice Age comics, but I doubt it, okay? I doubt it. I don't think it's coming. Now, but, so I'm just gonna read, like, a short, like, synopsis of a bunch of stupid changes apparently they made. So maybe this is to just keep it consistent with 4, but Kevin is 7 in the first book. Rod is Rob and George Edson, which is also just maybe being consistent with 4. And like, I mean, I don't even know what the point of this all is. So, Molly looks different and does this. I don't know, let's just stop this. Let's just get on to another thing worth talking about. The video games! There are quite a few Home Alone video games. Mostly just the adaptations of Home Alone 1 and 2 released for all different consoles. I didn't play them. So, was it the same reason? Nah, I just didn't bother. Actually, I was putting it off because, well, I'll do it next time, I promise you, but I just don't know. Now, next franchise deep dive, I'll play at least one of the video games, okay? But I did do some research on the video games, and And I looked them up, and the Angry Video Game Nerd did a video on them with the actual Macaulay Culkin. Which, okay, I loved that. But they didn't talk about every single game. So just to get another introduction, I saw John Tron's video as well. Both great videos, both funny, both funny. Enough for all of them. So from what I can understand is the first one is just about like running around the house, and like second one's running around a hotel and just fighting random people, and nothing like the movies. There's also one released in there was also a PS2 game released in 2006, released in only Europe. This one's constantly considered to be a weird one. But, so, like, why was it even made, most people say, when it was just made, way after the Home Alone craze? I don't know! It's a mystery. But, yeah. I'll link those two videos by Angry Video Game Nerd and John Tron down in the description, because they explain these video games better than I ever will. Now, you're probably wondering, is this segment just going to be either me just reading stuff off a wiki, or going to just be about changing more? No, because there is something I did watch for this video. The Home Alone advertisement short film, Home Alone Again, with the Google Assistant. This advertisement is, well, it's nothing bad. I think it's probably the best piece of Home Alone media after Home Alone 2, which is just, I wouldn't, but it's just a weird one where just Kevin talks to Google Assistant and basically tells Google Assistant all different messages while Kevin is home alone. It's basically while Kevin is home. Macaulay Culkin is reprising his role, it being a time where he plays Kevin as an adult. Yeah. It's an interesting thing to be sure. I don't know though. I don't know. It's just another time, I guess. So, you're probably wondering, is that commercial canon to the Home Alone franchise? No. Probably not anyway. It can be in your head canon, sure, but like Kevin still lives with his parents decades later, and he like called Google Assistant to take him away. I don't think it fits with the pre-established canon rules that much. But you know what might, maybe? I've got more to talk about, because I thought that I was going to just move on to a weird connection between two very different franchises, but it seems like there's more to talk about, because apparently there's been a lot of unofficial YouTube stuff. I use the Wikipedia page, but according to the Home Alone wiki itself, there's been lots of mini YouTube stuff I watched for this video, and that actors have mostly done this, but they're unofficial. So yeah, let's just look at them for a second. First of all, we have drivers. Felt like this for some reason. It's 5 episodes, but I only wanted to watch episodes with Kevin in them. Now, these are just episodes where a guy called Jack using a rideshare app and getting into situations with drivers, very weird ones. Now, the first episode of the series, just me in the house by myself. Yeah, Macaulay reprised his role as Kevin McAllister, famous, but as a dark comedic way in which it did not affect him well at all. According to this, Kevin, it really got to him. Everything really traumatized him, and it meant it to be like a horrible psycho hunting down home invaders. Now this, I think, is more realistic because I can't imagine like Kevin McAllister having a good life after what happened. I really do wonder what Kevin would be like as an adult, and clearly one struggling with PTSD and all that, he's and being a crazy guy. This was interesting. I didn't watch the entire series, just the episodes with Kevin. Yes, there's a couple of episodes because he makes cameos in episodes 4 and 5. And mostly one where he just comes in and kills everyone, and then where he just does it. The first episode is very funny. It's very funny and an interesting exploration. Macaulay Culkin really captures the role well again, really gets back into it. He really does. This series in general, the episodes I watch are pretty good, and I might watch more than 2 episodes some other time. But I think Kevin's role in it is easy. The other video I wanted to talk about is Home Alone Wet Bandit resurfaces in response to Kevin McAllister's threatening video. Do you really have to give your YouTube videos that long a title, Daniel Stern? Okay, this was a video released by Daniel Stern and his YouTube channel, the guy who played Marv, and it's just a much older Marv talking about and begging Harry for help, implying that Kevin's gonna get revenge on him and basically kill them. In this episode, they realize just home invaders, but it's just there's not any actual video which it's implying. It says, but it could be saying any video. Now, according to the wiki, this might be in continuity with the Drivers miniseries, but who knows, really, what it could be referring to. I don't think it had anything to do with that. But yeah, these are just times where they've played their characters anyway, and yeah. These weren't actual releases, but I think they're notable and interesting to note, at least. Yeah. So, you're probably wondering, are these canon? Are these shorts? Do they work? Canonicity-wise? Well, it's worth noting that the Driver series, and if that Marv video, released by Daniel Stern, really is in continuity with those, then both can't really exist in the same universe as the commercial, because the commercial depicts Kevin still living with his parents, while the driver's thing, and in the commercial, he's still pretty much well-rounded, he's a stable guy. In the driver's miniseries, he's basically insane and is killing people. Him and the other robbers, like, taking anger out. He's crazy. Okay? Dark interpretation. And he hates his parents, clearly. He keeps rejecting calls from his mum. And, like, yeah. So they clearly can't take place in the same universe. So, yeah. Obviously, both gets a mention on, in book. We don't mention twice, which is a bit. We didn't mention that they left them in twice. It's possible these are only canon to the first movie, which is kind of strange, really. But I like to think they're canon more than the commercial, because they're better than the commercial. They're great. I love them. So, you did good works, everyone who worked on those. Golkin, you did good work on these videos. So, I have a fun talking about these mini YouTube videos. But the final thing I wanted to talk about in this segment is something which I'm pretty sure no one, and I do mean no one, well, unless you've looked into it, unless you've done a lot of research, so maybe not no one, almost no one would predict will come up in this video. The movie Detective Pikachu. Detective Pikachu is a movie I have not seen and I'm probably never going to see unless I finally get into Pokemon, because I know less about Pokemon than I do on, I don't know, anything. Well, I know a few obvious things, but I don't know much around the bare basics. So I wasn't gonna go out and watch this movie. But you like, why am I even talking about this movie in a Home Alone video? Well, because of an Easter egg in that, which is apparently Wikipedia worthy, but the YouTube videos I just mentioned are not. I know this isn't a reference, but it's clear cut in that you could genuinely make the argument that this movie takes place in the same universe as Home Alone 1 and 2 more than Home Alone 3 does. In this movie, you see a scene where a character is watching some old gangster movies. The movie they chose to put on is Angels with Filthy Souls from Home Alone. Angels with Filthy Souls. That is what they decided to do. It apparently, like, what the director said, that they were just looking for the perfect placeholder, and they just dropped it in. Basically, they were going to replace the film later, but it just fit perfectly, so they kept in the final film. It seems pretty good. I watched the clip, and yeah. Now, I'm not gonna actually watch the movie because of this one clip. And obviously, they still don't take place in the same universe. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? But it's still a very interesting thing to look at, isn't it? It is. Yeah. Now, that was my tour. Now, that was just a bunch of little tidbits, a bunch of little other media I wanted to talk about for this video. There was quite a bit to talk about, so I hope you enjoyed this entire ordeal, this entire segment. I had fun doing it. Obviously, more than I did with other movies. Now, I'm about to sit down and watch 5 and 6 now. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. The guy that's actually doing the reviews, who's a complete different person, he's going to do that. I'm going to stay right here. Because I have a way better job. I mean. But 5 and 6, well, they're going to be a weird mess, I assume, for him. So actually, as we talked about like lots of weird ones, like weird stuff like Detective Pikachu and everything else, all I wanted to say is, here's to you, Home Alone, other media. It's actually empty. Why am I still drinking this? This is empty. This is empty. This is back to you. Okay, that was it. I don't know what my counterpart was freaking out about. Like, an empty cup? I heard that! Now, Home Alone 5, it's not what I thought. It's not as bad as I thought. Maybe I spoke too soon about the even worse movies, because honestly, 4 hasn't... It's way stronger than 4. Now, it's not good, but it's better than that one, for sure. Yeah. So, yeah. Home Alone 5 subverted my expectations quite a bit. More than I thought it would. My expectation... It may have the advantage of not being plagued by bad continuity or anything like that. But the problems I mentioned in the review, which weren't dependent on that, like predictable plot, poor pacing, and it not being that funny, are way less present here. Sure, I wouldn't say it holds a candle to the first two, or even the ironic enjoyment I got from the third one. But I'd argue it's still a pretty good... I'd argue it's still not that bad of a movie. Now, it's still bad, I think. I think that it has a lot drawing it back, which I need to talk about. First of all, we have our main characters, Finn and Alexis. This movie really is the least protagonist-centric movie here, as kind of like Alexis is almost as frequent. She's kind of a deuteragonist here, and it's good to get a sibling like in on the action quite a bit. I'd have to say that. Now, at the beginning of the movie, the main character is a gamer. He spends too much time playing games. And this girl, she spends too much time on her phone. Wow, she should really go and read something, right? Well, yeah, she should, but not gonna. I mean, I thought it was gonna be one of those stupid, preachy, anti-technology movie made by boomers. But nah, it's not. That element doesn't actually come into place as much as I thought. This movie is more about the parents moving in, a family moving in, and they think a house is haunted, and the main character thinks the house is haunted, but there's just an expensive painting in the basement, which is the thing the robbers try and steal. You know, it gets like less and less Home Alone in the Home Alone movies. In the Home Alone 1, he's home alone the entire time. That's just how he is. In Home Alone 2, he is alone as a kid for most of the movie, but it doesn't take place alone. Like he's not usually he's usually in a hotel room with hotel pay, so it's not really like a big building all by himself alone. It's still alone, don't get me wrong. Home Alone 3, he isn't home alone Alex isn't home alone for the entire movie. He's there. Home Alone 4 doesn't have him home alone that much because like the butler and maid is kind of there sometimes, so he's not really ever home alone. Same with Home Alone 5. The main characters are home alone, but like the main character isn't. I don't mind the two main characters, although Alexis is kind of annoying at the beginning. She gets less annoying as the movie goes on. The mom is super annoying though. There is no transition into being neglectful and seeming to hate her kids. But then she's and be controlling, but there is no transition. You're a bit controlling to us. There's not really a transition. Like, you left your kids alone. Then again, if you didn't leave them alone, an expensive painting would have been stolen. Also, wouldn't they get some amount of money for selling that painting to a museum? I don't get that scene. I really don't. The three robbers in this movie are pretty dull. I'd actually say they're a step up from the robbers in Home Alone 3. But they're still nothing special. We've got the big leader, the dumb one, and the girl who's obsessed with her man trying to call her back. That's the cast. It's they do stuff. Again, there's like an anti-technology message which isn't as frequent. Like they do a setting where Finn has a friend who's online, but the guy isn't online. So they thought that they was just not making friends online, which I'm just gonna tell you here is not a good mentality. I mean, most of my friends are online. I'm not fully proud of it, but then again, it's not. But that person online turns out to be just like a 30-year-old man still, and he seems and I thought he was going to turn out to be incredibly creepy or something, but no, he ends up kind of saving the day, being the one to call the parents and calling the police and be responsible for saving everyone. Honestly, but they would have probably gone away if it wasn't for him, which is kind of new. Definitely not what I was expecting. And he gets a happy ending later on too. Of course, they still have to zone in a message of like, he has to stay off video games once in a while. But again, it's not as zoned in as I thought. It's more like don't be judged by appearance. It's interesting of how like he can be nice. I mean, I don't know. It's a new take for a movie like this. I've got lots of... I like that part of the movie. I miss how secretive these movies were. What I mean by that is, well, secretive. Also, it's called Home Alone, The Holiday Heist. But like, it's just about them setting in the Christmas season. But Christmas barely comes into it. I mean, yes, it is a Christmas movie, but like, again, it gets much less a Christmas movie as it goes on. Actually, Home Alone 3 was less Christmassy than this one. But it still doesn't feel that Christmassy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So, this movie had a bunch of surprises. But like, let's just talk about the humor here, because it is 10 times better than the fourth movie. In the fourth movie, I only laughed once in a movie series which is supposed to be comedy oriented. The traps were boring and I didn't laugh at any of them. Here, it's much more funny. I wouldn't say it's laugh out loud funny or as near funny as the first three, but it's still quite funny compared to both of it. I overall do not hate this movie. I do think it still has poor pacing and like not well developed characters or robbers or like kind of makes fun of dementia. I think that's what it's doing. It plays dementia for laughs with this boss character. I think so. So yeah, that's a thing in the movie. But in general, it's not the worst thing in the world. You can do worse than this. Let's move on to Home Alone 6. Let's see if this one can top 4's awfulness, or if that's just the height of how bad it's, or how 4 is, or if 4 is still the height of how bad things are going to get here. Yeah, I think I kind of spoke too soon. This movie is bad. While Home Alone 5 was not as bad as I thought, Home Alone 6 is exactly what I would expect. An awful movie with an awful cast that bastardized everything. I hate this movie with a burning passion. If anyone thinks that Home Alone 4 or 5 was the worst one, or even 3 or 2, nothing can be topped. Except Buck Wild, it still can't hold a candle. Why do you exist? But this movie just stinks like absolute hell. Let's talk about our protagonist. This idiot! He needs money and is in financial troubles. He and his wife, another idiot, have to sell the house. They don't want to. And they find out a doll they own is expensive because a kid told them. And this kid is the villain of the movie. He stops by... Yeah, and... the idiot thinks he stole it. But so the two idiots go on a quest to get the doll back from this evil kid. Will keep getting stopped because, well, they're idiots. To people who haven't seen this movie, which is most of you, I assume, you might assume I'm being sarcastic, and I am to an extent. I'm making fun of the movie. This generally feels like what it is. This is the worst kid in the entire series. He is obnoxious and wishes his family were gone for no reason. I thought the opening of the first movie was bad. This one is stupid. No one is really that mean to the kid. He just wants to be left alone and hates his family for no reason. Yes, the entire family hated Kevin for no reason, but at least it gave Kevin a motivation for hating them. There's no motives at all in this movie. Not one. In some ways, it definitely just wants to emulate the first one, but in other ways, it definitely doesn't. Remember when Kevin had an arc? Like, it wasn't the best thing ever because the first movie was a comedy, but it still took a while for Kevin to actually miss his family and realize he was wrong to wish them away. Guess how long it takes in this movie? Less than 10 minutes. About less than 10 minutes of screen time. We barely know any of the family in this movie either. As I said, this boy is not the main character. He's actually barely in the movie compared to these two. These two are the protagonists. And I mean that with no sarcasm. These two are undoubtedly the main characters. It's not about the kid being home alone. That title is more accurate than it has been in even 4 and 5, because at least they were never really home. While they were never really home alone, their kids were still the focus of those movies. The villains in Home Alone are irredeemable assholes. This is the point. Even the villains in 3 and 5, as bad as they are, aren't given much depth. You might think this is a good thing, but they're not supposed to. They're supposed to be as evil and loving it as all the classic Disney villains. This is because at the end of every movie, they get a severe beating as so many deadly traps come their way, and you're not supposed to care. It's supposed to be funny. In this movie, the robbers are just simply a couple struggling with money who want what they think is their stolen property back. While the traps are definitely better than they were in like 4, they just make you feel sad because these two don't deserve this much severe beating. It's just so awful. The kid thinks they want to steal him because of how they talk about the doll. No one in this movie talks or acts like an actual human. The acting in this movie is terrible. It's worse than that extra in that scene in Home Alone 2. Actually, no, it's not that bad. I don't know why I even said that. The acting is just so over the top and I hate it. There is an obvious solution there. If the kid has stolen to it, call the police yourself. Just talk to the grandma. Why are you breaking and entering? Why not just go up to the kid and ask to the door already? This movie will be solved in like 30 minutes if every character in it wasn't an idiot. But no, it is a true idiot plot. More than the other 5 movies by far. Like, seriously? You're probably wondering, is this movie all bad, or does it at least have some good things in it? Well, yes. For one, Buzz. I'm so glad they brought him into this movie as a good way to connect it. This is what Home Alone 3 and 5 needed. The scene where Buzz hangs up thinking it's a prank call because Kevin does it every year is probably one of, if not my favourite scenes of the last 3 movies. And honestly, some of the jokes land. Even some of the traps were funny. It's a funnier movie than 4, although definitely being worse. Buzz, though, I hated the Angels with Filthy Souls scene. That was not a good reference whatsoever. But, yeah, this movie's not irredeemable, but you will have to pay me pretty good money to watch it again. So, now we finally come to the end of the video, which is much shorter than my Ice Age video, for quite a few reasons, all of them good. But, mostly, sorry I got this video out so late. I meant to get it out days ago. Actually, this time last week was planned to be the release date. I'm sorry I failed that before I say anything about the future of a franchise, which is how I'm going to end every video. In the Ice Age video, we already knew, well, we basically knew. It wasn't officially announced, but it was basically announced by the actor. Here, it has not been confirmed or denied that they will be a Home Alone 7. Something I didn't mention about Home Alone 6 is that it was originally meant to be an older movie, but Disney changed it when it was bought by Fox. It was supposed to be like R-rated, like an adult movie, but they changed it. I don't think that would have been any better, though, to be honest. I think that would have sucked just as much, but in a different way. Might at least be interesting to talk about. Honestly, I really you're probably wondering which one I prefer, Home Alone or Ice Age. Well, I think the Ice Age series knocks it out of the park. While yes, Ice Age's biggest low is much lower than Home Alone's biggest low, it's Home Alone. Ice Age is still a more consistent franchise. 2 of its movies are just okay, and the one which is the worst isn't even really part of the franchise. You can argue that only 3 are part of the Home Alone franchise, and in this case, if we're only talking about the 3 cinematic Home Alone movies versus the 5 cinematic Ice Age movies, then yeah, Home Alone's better. But that's not what I'm here to figure out. Will they consider beating the franchise into the ground? Will they keep doing that? Will there ever be a Home Alone 7? I think it's a very big possibility. Home Alone is still a Christmas classic. It's still going around every year. Home Alone and Home Alone 2, they're both becoming more and more Christmas well liked. Even Home Alone 3 is getting a lot of good reception recently. But what is the big idea about this? Do I think that's all correct? Do I think that they could ever make another good Home Alone movie? Do I think it's possible? Like with Ice Age, I think it's possible to make Ice Age 6 good. It's just unlikely. With Home Alone, I honestly don't know what they do. Like, legitimately, a Home Alone 7 would be much harder to make good than an Ice Age 6, because with Home Alone, it's been bad, awful, for much longer than Ice Age. I honestly don't think that it can get much worse than Home Alone 6. So, if we get like a movie, that bad movie worse than that, then we're truly screwed, honestly. So while I think that, so while I think Home Alone 7 is possible, I also think a possibility is, since Home Alone is owned by Disney now, I think we could get a remake of the first one. I think that is also a possibility, where we get new actors to play everyone. Especially because Home Alone is a classic, so talking about nostalgia is definitely a possibility. I thought that might be the case with Ice Age before Ice Age 6 was announced. But I do really think Home Alone is functionally over as a franchise. While they might keep making Home Alone movies, I don't think they're ever gonna be anything special if they make them again. So, now that's the end of the video. Again, sorry this was so late. I've got a couple of videos planned for January, and since 2024 fully started my channel, and this is the last video that's going to come out this year. So while I haven't had many people subscribe or views, this channel has gone okay, and this era of my channel has lasted much longer than my last era. And I think I will make videos indefinitely. I'm going to try to make 2025 a full year of making videos. With getting off on other social media, I want to put more work into this. And eventually, maybe I can get monetized and all that. Who knows? Who knows? Hopefully I'll reach 100 subscribers if you subscribe right now. And like the video if you did like it. But if you didn't like the video, leave a dislike and a hate comment, because we love to keep the algorithm happy. Also follow me on social media in the links below. I'm trying to move away from Twitter and move on to other social media sites. So I might link my Reddit in there too. Just because I'm going to be less and less frequent on Twitter. But if you still want to follow me, you can follow me. I will see you in my next video. Whatever that may be, it will be between two things. See you later.